This is about the point in the program that I introduce our guest analyst who's here to give his perspectives on nearly everything we've covered on the program. And today I'm joined here in the studio by the columnist, policy strategist and group CEO of the Global Investment and Trade Company, Baba Yusuf. Good to see you, Baba.
Thank you, Suleiman, for having me.
A whole lot happening, and the conversation. Let me take out one that resonates, and it has to do with reform. Rear Admiral Akpan spoke about reform. Retired CP Alubi also spoke about reform. But again, let's narrow it first to the police. The kind of reform in the police resonates with every Nigerian, retired policemen and even 7 policemen inclusive.
It's a very serious issue, Suleiman. It requires serious national discourse and action. And I look forward to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu having within his plan to reform the police for real. This has
for real.
For real.
Because why did you put that? Why did you put the phrase for real?
This is sounding like a broken record. It's a cyclical, narrative for over 2 decades. You keep on hearing these discussions, the political class, even the societal, the leaders in society, even us on the streets and everywhere. Everybody agrees that the Nigerian police requires reform in all its ramifications, but the action to do that, the political will to do that, has to be at the table of the president of this country. With the way and manner the current president is acting, we have the hope that this particular very critical institution will be given the attention it deserves. Interestingly, we have Malam Nuhu Ribadu, a member of that constituency, holding a critical position of National Security Advisor. We hope, since he has the ears of people like Malam Nuhu Ribadu, and of course he is someone also through his career and his life has seen how the Nigerian police has deteriorated. I believe that this is the time to reform the police if we actually want to have traction with the issues of enforcement of laws and fight against criminality and internal threats.
And Admiral Akpan also spoke about the need for us to reduce, if not get our military out of our streets, out of our cities, and allow them to core, professional military jobs. Because this again comes back to the police dropping the ball. Now, speak to us on how we can actually get the police to be able to go back to securing our communities, civil matters, and allowing the military to do what constitutionally it was meant to do.
Therefore, we ask ourselves, how did we get to the point whereby the military is on the streets? And then if we answer that now, we realize that much as that sounds very noble and very nice, but that is not the reality of the country today. What we expect to see is a strategy for us to exit this situation where the military are in our markets and in our stores all over the place. And that will still go back, first of all, to the reform of the police, which should be a subset of an overall national security, strategy moving forward. Unless that is done, we'll still end up finding ourselves to seek for the support of the military to support the Nigerian police and all other agencies that are, on the sideline to support the police. For example, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and all that. So unless that reform takes place or it happens pari passu, so there must be a strategy and a blueprint to achieve that within a timeline that the president who is on the hot seat will decide to say, I want this to happen in 2 years, in 1 year, for us to have this, and then by the end of my 4-year tenure, I want to achieve a total reform of the police, and I want to have a segmented or modular approach for the military to exit, because it's easier said than done.
You spoke about the NSCDC, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. How much of importance or effect do they have in the scheme of the fight against banditry and also protecting our national assets?
Statutorily, The concept is noble, Suleiman. It looks good, and the men and women that have joined the corps have been trying their best, but they are also, victims of a national issue. If the Nigerian police is facing this serious issue, you can understand where we will place the Nigerian security and civil defense. We see how they are struggling with the pipeline, monitoring of the pipelines. We see, I have sat in committees and project teams where I have them on board to secure critical infrastructure. And we see how they struggle because the capacity is not there. And, these are people that are supposed to be led by either possibly police or military, to train them, to bring them up to par. So where you have this kind of national malaise of a critical institution like the Nigerian police, then your guess is as good as mine. So I think the reform of the Nigerian police is critical, because during discussions I will bear my mind with regards to issues of national security, why national security and civil defense and the police are going to form a part of, they are going to be critical success factors to achieving that, because it appears we get carried away with the umbrella of the national security advisor vis-a-vis securing ourselves within the country. But is that actually the scope of the office of the national security advisor? And if not, how do we have a focal point vision on the critical issues of our internal security versus our territorial integrity?
It looks much like deja vu, like we've seen this before. New security chiefs. We have you come and some of the other colleagues of yours to speak, and we're still very much the same. So what are those key things you would love to see that may help rejig and alter the course for the good of the nation?
Actually, to even improve on what you said, we are worse than before. We are moving 2 steps forwards, backwards. 1 step backwards. Suleiman, if you look at the security situation of Nigeria in the 90s and now, and if you look at the security of Nigeria in 1999 and now, you keep on comparing, we keep on, losing ground, losing foothold. Like you rightly said, till today, service chiefs that are appointed come highly recommended, brilliant CVs on paper, accolades by their compatriots, serving and retired, and everybody will be charged and excited. And then we see what I call initial gra-gra. People will move to the formations. We heard former President Buhari saying, move to the northeast, flush them out and all that. But we are not able to sustain. Critical is leadership at the top, right? The president to demonstrate the readiness in action to actually deal with the issue of national security. These brilliant military officers or armed forces, as good as they may see on paper, will become something else if the right leadership is not given to them. I'm not saying the right leadership in a negative way with regards to Muhammad Buhari, former president, but an action, a bold-faced, front-facing, forward-thinking, result-oriented president that will say, this is what I want to do, these are the timelines, and this is how it is going to be done. And to instill the discipline for consequences to be there if things are not done when they are supposed to be done, especially when it has to do with security and you are marshalling uniformed armed men and there are no consequences. So you see these hitherto heroes, becoming something else. There is no discipline. People become transactional. Military generals are becoming more or less contractors. Even their colleagues are complaining outside the office with regards to the degradation of morale and discipline of the military. And it is permeating into other, armed forces, the police and all that. So critical is the leadership of the president in deciding this is how things are going to be. He has done that already. He has read the Riot Act to the armed forces with regards to national security coordination. And then the next thing, he has taken the step to change the service chiefs. And I'm sure because he is a performance-based person, from antecedents, he's going to give them KPIs and they are going to deliver. I expect one of the things to do is to give them some quick wins to deliver. He made a promise to Nigerians during campaign to end insurgency and insecurity within a particular time frame. Much as it was ambitious, we want to see some, quick wins to say within 1 or 2 months, people should go to their farms, to be able to go and produce food, to go and harvest and see some take back of some territories that are hitherto or even currently in the hands of these criminal elements. So that leadership is very critical, Suleiman, because with leadership will come discipline, with leadership will come cultural change, shifting from what it is today. With leadership will come meritocracy. With leadership will come, zero tolerance to indolence. And because the military is a disciplined institution, all they need is that little push, and I think things will come back in shape. And of course, kitting and tooling, training and all that, within the realm of what should be. Because we hear stories about what happened, right from 2014 and all that with regards to the monies that have been, voted for security going elsewhere.
Baba Yusuf, a fine place for us to say thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Suleiman.
Well, that's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Do join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, it's goodbye and thanks for watching.